with Valentine. This is a show where we demystify the local content that MultiChoice is putting together, focused on our lives as East Africans specifically. So we've met actors, we've met actresses, but who are the minds, who are the creatives behind these processes? What does a producer do? Who is a director? And what is a showrunner? What is the difference between all of these roles, and how do they work to bring you the characters that you love so much? And today we're meeting Ruben, who is the producer of Selena. We're also meeting Lucy, who created Vashita, and Njorowa Uba, who I just love, and the director of Njorowa Uba and Vashita, who is Arnold. And yeah, let's meet them. Hey guys.
Hey, hi Valentine.
Corona has really changed things, so this is how we're doing this. I would have loved to meet each and every one of you in person. So let's just start. I'll start with you, Lucy, because I love Njorowa Uba so much. I think the character is amazing. He's so relatable. I've actually sat in an Uber with a guy who told me he has a master's degree from the University of Cape Town. And he's like, I have kids, I had a car, so I started, being an Uber driver. And I think he's hilarious. I love the actor you chose. And Vashita is also hilarious. Are you a comedian?
Depends on who you ask. I think I just have an amazing team that has a great sense of humor. And the time that goes into writing and creating these stories, I think, gives us enough, enough, like the writer's room is very exciting. So we're able to put in a lot of comedy and the humor that you see on the show. But no, I'm not a comedian.
Okay, I would have thought actually to write comedy and to write it consistently, you almost need to be a hilarious person. Maybe not a stand-up comedian, but isn't it a different skill set when you sit with drama writers? Are you different from them?
I'm not a writer. Let's start from there. I'm a storyliner. I think I have some ideas, and I'm able to share those ideas with an amazing team of writers who now give us the final script. There's a difference, yes, when we are writing drama and when we are writing comedy. But I think it's the situations that we put our characters in that makes it either funny or dramatic. So I would say, yes, once we are very clear on the genre of a show or the scene in a particular show, then we are able to know that do we need to put humor in this, or do we just let it flow naturally? So I think the situations and the story guide the humor.
I find Njorowa Uba, the humor is very natural. It doesn't feel like you inserted humor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it feels very natural, very Kenyan. Yes, completely.
The beauty with Njoro is, when I compare the two shows, Njoro and Vashita, for Njoro, we are not looking for ha. We're just looking to tell a good story. If we are able to find humor in a situation, well and good. For Vashita, it's different because it's a slapstick. So we are having to go over the top, and we have to consistently, like when we are reading a script during a read-through, we'd be like, was there a funny in this page? Like we try to challenge ourselves to at least have a funny in every scene, or at least in every page. And then if we don't find ha, then you have to go back and be very deliberate and make sure that there's that, yeah. So for Njoro, it's very organic, but for Vashita, we have to work at it, yes.
Okay, Arnold, I'll start with you. What does a director do? And I know we're going backwards. We should have started maybe with a show creator, then done producer, then done the director. Is that what we should have done?
Yeah, I think we should even just do it that way, in fact, because the question of what a director is impossible to answer.
It's impossible to answer.
Yeah, it's a very tough question, because there's a lot of it's basically overseeing a lot of people, and it's a lot of different things that people do on set that actually make this whole thing, because it's a collaborative art form. So it becomes very difficult to pinpoint exactly what you do. I guess the main thing you'd say is providing a vision for those different departments, a template to follow or something like that. But it gets very tricky trying to determine what exactly a director is, which sounds as though maybe it would make my work obsolete, but for some reason you still need one on set So it's one of those tricky ones.
I find with productions, there's a lot of overlap in roles. Okay, we'll start with Lucy. I'll follow your advice, Arnold. We'll start with Lucy. You created Njoro wa Uba.
Yes.
And you're the executive producer. What?
I'm one the executive producer.
Okay, so what are your roles?
So my role is more having the creative vision for the show. So like when I had the idea to do Njoro wa Uba, it was an idea that formed over time. I didn't wake up and decide I'm doing a show about a taxi driver. Same thing with you. You get into a taxi, you meet someone an Uber driver who gives you an interesting story. And then when it became a bit too much, I said, you know what, this I think would make for a great would make for great TV. So I sat together with some people, I shared the ideas. They kind of saw the vision, and then we decided to build the world, come up with the character of Njoro. Who is he? What are we giving him as his struggles? What's his motivation? So we built that whole world that is Njoro wa Uba. So that was the beginning of where it starts for the showrunner, sort of. And then now putting together the creative team that will come up, like tighten the story, build this world, and then we sit together with a team of writers, and then now we are guided by what we've created to write scripts for the different episodes, and then put together the actors rather who did want to play the character of Njoro, because this was the person who would drive the show. So again, that's a decision I had to make in consultation with the other guys who shared my creative vision. And then our world, where was this going to play out? Is it Nairobi? Are we going to be outside of Nairobi? So basically figure the whole creative vision of this show. And then once we do that and we have the scripts, then that is when I hand over the show to the people who will now do the actual production.
Okay, Ruben, I'm assuming you're the guy who's doing the actual production. Can you tell us something about what you do as a producer? There's something I noticed with interviewing your cast of Selena. They're actually friends, and when you look at them on Instagram, they hang out. Is that you as Ruben, or that's just something that happened organically?
It's teamwork. So pretty much what I do is similar to what Lucy does. There's a bit of semantics there between executive producer and producer, especially with Selena being an adaptation, because then there's a thin line on executive producer and producer. Okay, but just so my work is to create an environment for actors and crew to be able to execute the script. So I'm involved in decision making, from scripting, wardrobe, locations, casting, which director to work with, and stuff like that. We work very closely with the executive producer here, who then this is Mnet. So I facilitate that work for them. Then I go a step ahead and just create an environment where actors can feel secure and can feel safe for them to be able to perform, because telenovelas and dramas, they can be emotionally draining, and there's a bit of depth that your cast or crew, especially, might need to dive to certain levels. So, small hangouts, once in a while, team building, pep talks. And with the time, people who work closely at a certain environment, they become friends by themselves.
They do. I really noticed that on your set, and even like you brought up the emotional the emotional journey that each character goes through, and how it impacts the actual actor or actress. They talked about that, about how they've actually been upset and gone home upset and having to manage that and their families and their personal lives. So yeah, I think that is heavy. I haven't been on the set yet of Njoro wa Uba. I can't wait to sit in that Uba, Lucy. We're going to make this happen.
Please do.
Okay. Now, do you have the DSTV app? Make sure you download it. And if not, you can dial *423# for the best shows in Kenya on DSTV and also on GoTV. So that's *423# to stay connected or to get connected. These shows, Vashita is on every single Wednesday at 7:30. Njoro Uba is on Thursdays at 8 on Maisha Magic East, and Selena 8:30 every single weekday, Monday to Friday, and all these shows are on Maisha Magic East. So make sure you dial *423# and yes, watch the best shows in Kenya.